And we're live. Welcome back to the Wanna Parlay podcast. I'm Lance Bell. Next to me is Jack Neuheisel. Jack, go ahead and tell the people about Wanna Parlay.
The Wanna Parlay podcast, as always, is brought to you by the good folks of Wanna Parlay, home of the $2 parlay and the world's richest parlay, where every week people are walking in, turning their $2 investment into $2,000. It's only Friday, folks. We've still got the weekend and a lot of action to come, but people are already off, rocking and rolling, making a ton of money on the page. We got the pick 7, pick 6, pick 5, pick 4, all open. People are walking out on a daily basis with $500 more than they started with. You come get in that line and be a part of it. They're all open tonight as we talk about the Friday games. And then be paying attention to that main event. That's the big prize around here. That's playing for $2,000 every week, and any spot on that leaderboard is getting you home with some pretty good money. It's off to a nice little start right now. Ryan Ortega 1 is currently leading that group, chasing the $2,000 prize. Quite frankly, Ryan, I'd be shocked if your 21.35 even survives this Friday night. So that thing's wide open. Why shouldn't it be you? You got a ton of people making thousands and thousands of dollars on this page. Dialed picks, steel curtain, guys we like to talk about around here. You go be the next guy. Go win that 2K. And then a special reminder, the Wanna VIP contest is up and running right now. This, quite frankly, is the best thing that Wanna Parlay or anybody else in the game is offering right now. Costs you just $2 to enter, and the winner is getting 2 all-expenses-paid tickets to the Wanna Parlay suite in Arrowhead to watch Justin Herbert and the Chargers take on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs this December 8th. That contest is open now and remains open until December 1st. So that date is rapidly approaching. Dialed picks, that absolute beast and menace to society, my nemesis and rival, is currently leading that group with that 49.57. But last time, it took about a 120 burger to get yourself to Arrowhead. So that number ain't going to hold up. It's still anyone's game. Why shouldn't that anyone be you? Get over to Wanna Parlay and go have some fun. And now let's get off to the podcast and tell you about what action you're going to be placing over there at Wanna Parlay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So usually we do the shows on Thursdays, but we got moved over to Friday, so our picks are a little outdated. We picked last Tuesday night slate, so we still got to hold accountability hour no matter how long in the past our bets were made. So I'll start with myself. I went 6-8. Not great, folks. Not great at all. Honestly, pathetic. But here we go. It was during that NBA Cup. It was that Celtics-Cavs game. I had Celtics minus 5.5 and dog shit Tatum and dog shit Jaylen Brown. Yes, I know they're great players and champions and just won the fucking title, but I'm calling them dog shit because, my God, hit your free throws, man. I know you don't care, but I do. And it was right there. It was the best bet. Give up I get it. You choked and they come all the way back. They storm back. Just hit your free throws. All right, so lose that one. They end up breaking the Cavs streak. Good for them. Rest in piss. Hate the Celtics. Thunder. Small ball's not going to do it. So thank God you got Hartenstein back because that was pathetic. They didn't even have Wemby and Zach Collins sitting here post-hooking over your entire team. That didn't actually occur. That might be a little aggressive. But you lost to the Spurs straight up. Not only did you not cover 9.5, you lost. Pathetic. Player props I had that night. Obviously, it's outdated, so it's a little tough to. But Tatum over 3.5 threes. That banged in the second quarter. Garland over 6.5 assists. He was diabolically ass from the field. He couldn't shoot. 3 for 21, so he had to dish the rock. That covered. LaMelo Ball. Jack, you were right. Big piece of piling fucking steamer on my chest. 34.5 points and assists. The guy didn't even play at the end of the game because he was so miserable. Dennis Schroeder, 22.5 points and assists. That was a W. That's what you liked. So, pat yourself on the back there, Jack. Jaren Jackson Jr. over 28.5 points and rebounds. This hit 27. He had like a miserable first half of 3 fouls and I think accumulated 6 points and rebounds. Doesn't matter. Lost. You're miserable. Off my screen. Doncic over 7.5 assists. This was an L because the Pelicans are so bad that they can't even compete. So you don't even know what the box score. I should have known before. You really thought Doncic is going to be whipping it out there. Guess not, folks. Guess not. But my one lock that I knew was hitting no matter what was Zach Collins over 6.5 rebounds, and he had 7. So maybe it wasn't that big of a lock. That was a little sketchy. Shea over 5.5 rebounds, loss. Anthony Davis over 3.5 steals and blocks, loss. He had 3. Yep, there's my luck, folks. Oilers money line win. Minnesota Wild -1.5 win. Good odds on that one. And then Lightning ended up winning in overtime, so they did not cover their -1.5. Jack, talk to us. How'd you do?
Well, I did a great job of combing through your player props. The only one I got burned on was Jaren Jackson Jr. To your point, I poked in at halftime. The guy had like 4 points, 2 rebounds. And I was like, what the fuck is going on, Jaren? Get yourself involved. So that one drives me crazy. Dennis Schroeder I was in on. Zach Collins I was in on. Doesn't matter how much you cover, but as long as you cover, I'll take it.
Yep.
Your game lines. Yeah, you made a hilarious comment, just getting frustrated with the free throws. I've never understood it. I can go to the park right now, having not played organized basketball in probably 17 years, and go 8 for 10 from the line right now. No warm up, no problem.
Jack, we might have to double check that. I might have to get a clip of you going to the.
I'll go to the park right now and do it. I'm an American, Lance. I can hit my free throws. Last time I went and played a little pickup, I literally made that comment. I was like, part of the citizenship test of getting into this country, the last thing, like you take the written test, right? You get all that. Like George Washington's the president. Here's what the Third Amendment does, la-di-da. And then, okay, great. Congratulations, Lance. You're going to be an American now. You just have to hit 1 free throw under pressure. And if you hit it, congrats. You're in. And if not, you can come back in 2 weeks and take the test again. You're not deported, but you got to hit a free throw under pressure.
You got to hit
standard for this country.
Oh, my God. That is hilarious. Real quick, KG Little Joe's in the chat. Speaking of missed free throws, what about those Lakers last night? Way to fucking kick us while we're down, KG. Man, we were going to get to that in a little bit, but my God, that was sad. Anthony Davis, pull your head out of your ass. Be great. Be the chosen one. Be the person you're supposed to be. Even though he's putting up MVP numbers, something like that last night, you're not in first place. You're sitting back there third. You're on the ban list for a week.
That's just loser ball. It's just a snatched up W right there. And one they're going to need. I appreciate the Lakers getting themselves organized and fixed. What are they, 10-5 now?
Yeah, they broke their 6-game win streak.
Yeah.
And that was, yeah, you're right. Like, you got to have those games.
D'Angelo on the bench. Rui Hachimura is not getting minutes. Connect moved to the starting lineup. Lots to like about the Lakers. But let me talk about my picks.
You're right.
I will pat myself on the back here because I was coming off the shitty weekend and I said I was going to get right, and I did. I got my bag. I got to college football and I went to the Maction, and I got some big stuff here. I got Miami -1 versus Northern Illinois, 20-9, easy with 17-0 at one point in that game. Piece of cake. Under 56.5, Western Michigan at Central Michigan. 30 total points in the game, 16-14 final score. Yeah, baby. And then Central Michigan +6 versus Western Michigan. They win by 2 outright.
You called Jimmy that McElwain. Too. You said, why not? Why not outright? Let's take the money line. You got fired up and you fired around the narrative. And that, man, beautiful.
Yeah. The other one I did outright, plus the points that I was just dead wrong on, is Kent State. Kent State's just a bad football team. That's just a bad football team. Akron, good for you. Get your first road win. Golden Flashes suck. Coach Carney, I worked with a guy on that staff right now. Coach Matt Carney at Charlotte. He's now a Kent State Golden Flash coach. And I feel for you, dog. It's bad out there. Real bad. I feel real bad for you.
That's
and then
so
I
brutal.
snuck in that little college basketball. I got to be careful because all of a sudden, when you think you found something, you start doing real stupid things. I was just checking out the numbers, and this was an 89% public bet on Bellarmine. And so I was just like, all right, I'll go Louisville. I haven't seen any of it. I did some fact checking, made sure that like things checked out, but like had no opinions going into seeing that stat, and then completely cultivated a narrative based around that. But it hit. So, and by the way, did the same thing last night with the Browns game. All the money on Pittsburgh.
I posted on my Instagram story, chat. If you're not following my Instagram, I give picks. I'm not going to say they're great. But hey, last night I was like, oh, money's on Steelers. Give me Browns +3.5. Lock. And there it was.
Yeah, that good football game there. You love the snow game. Interesting plot line to pay attention to. We need to be doing weather reports in all these games and just aware of what we're getting ourselves into.
That is true. That is true.
I've done that before where you're betting on something thinking you're getting one game and all of a sudden it's a torrential downpour. You're playing in a hurricane. You're like, well, shit. Because completely your fault.
That's
So
so
we got
funny.
it. It's just, especially I'm going to be as we get to the Saturday slate and stuff like that. I got a lot of Big Ten out there, and a couple unders hanging out there. So it's that time of the year. It's college
Okay.
football, especially. The old expression goes, Lance, they only remember the games played in November.
Oh yeah. I forget. I think I heard Joe Bag say that, so I know that's somewhere in the Neuheisel family because he snuck that one in at me when I'm trying to make picks. That's so funny. The games. Wait, what is it again?
The games they remember are played in November.
Yep. Yep. Wow. All right. So I guess we just talked about those Lakers. I mean, that Franz Wagner dagger, that was good. That was a good shot.
Yeah.
That was a good shot.
This year's Olympic run, this year's Olympic basketball stuff introduced me more so to some of these guys. Like I knew who Dennis Schroeder was, but you appreciate again, like God, Dennis Schroeder still got it.
Yeah.
Like when he was with the Lakers, I absolutely loved him. He goes, I think it was the Raptors, and then or to the Nets by way of the Raptors, maybe. But you just forget about guys like that. It's like Dennis Schroeder still got it. Franz Wagner, fucking got it. Guy's a fucking dog. Bogdanovich still got it. A couple of these guys. So yeah, Franz Wagner, absolute dog. Anthony Davis, make your free throws is right. You had 39 points. You needed one there for 40 and one to basically lock the game. Seriously disappointing stuff. And then it all looks bad after that. That's like the domino. This is like the Eagles game we talked earlier in the year. You have a shitty play call, then Saquon drops it, then a bunch of other bad decisions. It's like all that. If we just make the free throw, we have no problems. But the transition defense and no one getting organized, we get the bad matchup with Reddish out there. It was bad. It was bad for the Lakers.
It's tough, but the biggest. I'm not too concerned about it. I mean, everyone, like, I think I've said this before on the podcast. Everyone that plays the Lakers plays it like it's their game 7. It's their World Series. Like, they love going to LA and they love playing the Lakers. Or even when they show up, say you're like the Hornets and they show up, the Lakers show up, you're going to play as hard as you can because your stadium's finally sold out for the first time this season because you guys are shit. So it's just, that's what happens. And then and on top of that, they also love to play, their best ball against the greatest of all time, LeBron James. So when you have both those factors, Lakers and LeBron, you really get some of these nobody. I mean, I'm not calling Franz Wagner in any way, shape, or form a nobody, but I'm just saying in the past, there's been nobodies that absolutely hoop on us because it's like their time on prime time. But moving on from the Lakers, yeah, that snow game was good. That was like great vibes. Like that was awesome. Like
snow game was good. No one paid attention to the college football game played last night. I was on the wrong side of both of those. I had Georgia Tech covering the 9 and the under in that game, which for a while it looked good. First half it was like 16-7 Georgia Tech. But that game ends, Lance, if you didn't catch it. NC State tried a 58-yard field goal and missed by like a fucking eyelash. So almost sent Georgia Tech packing. ACC is a very misunderstood conference this year. Pat Narduzzi, the head coach of Pitt, came out earlier this week and tried to say that top to bottom it was the best conference in the league right now. Now I think that's a little bit of a stretch.
That's a stretch.
But I think the point he's trying to make, and I think it's a fair point, is once we get off the top 5 teams of each league, because then obviously the conversation is it currently unanimously is where it's SEC, Big Ten, and then pick, you can get into an argument about how the Big 12 and ACC are stacked up, and then beyond that, is it American or is it fucking Mountain West, and then so on and so forth, right? But the whole argument always ends at everyone takes the snapshot of the top 15 teams, and to date, the SEC is the best conference out there with respect to that, and they deserve to be. Their slogan of the SEC is "It just means more," and to those teams, it does. They represent the biggest investment in college football across the board. California legislature actually pushed the NIL deal, but it was hilarious to then go watch all those head coaches literally call their local congressmen and get those rules pushed across the books right away, so they wouldn't lose a step in the competitive balance there. And then Greg Sankey's been the best commissioner since basically commissioners took over this massive role since they changed the TV deal in the 80s. So the SEC deserves that. But once you clear those top 6 teams and you start looking at the middle of these conferences, it is a seriously misunderstood conversation. Like, we still think of Iowa as a premier team. Like, we're going back and giving the Penn States, Iowa State, or the Penn States, Iowa States, the Ohio States, the UCLA's credit for beating Iowa. And Iowa's going to be a 6-6 team this year, and you can't find one impressive win on their schedule for me. You know, you go
I
to
see
the
what you're
SEC.
saying.
You go to the SEC. This is a great year. An argument SEC homers like to throw out there is like even Vanderbilt would kick your ass, and Vanderbilt's good this year. Vanderbilt's not good this year. Vanderbilt got beat by Georgia State. It's an indictment of Alabama that they let themselves get beat by Vandy. Diego's fun. It's a fun story. Big Clark Lee fan. But let's not get lost in this world. Auburn got beat by Cal 2 years in a row now. You know, Cal's going to finish with 5, maybe 6 wins in the ACC. Cal's not a great team. It's a misunderstood conversation here of where the middle of these conferences are, and therefore how respectable some of these schedules are across the board. Because that NC State team is playing with the back of the quarterback and just took that Georgia Tech team to the ropes on the road. Really good effort from that NC State team. A Georgia Tech team that beat that Miami. You start playing the transitive property across the board. I think this is what happened to the Pac-12 for years. Before the Pac-12 went extinct, Lance, I like to quote this one. When my dad got that job in 2008 at UCLA, how old are you in 2008?
7 turning 8, right?
Yeah, 7 turning 8. Yeah, so you're not going to remember all these quarterbacks, but if you go through it, it was Halliday at Washington State, who between 2008 and 2011 set the passing record at Washington State, beating Drew Bledsoe, fucking Ryan Leaf, Tim Rosenbaugh, all the great Coug quarterbacks of all time. Snaps that one. Jake Locker was at Washington, first-round draft pick, played for the Titans for a number of years, great player. It was Jeremiah Masuli at Oregon. It was Sean Mannion at Oregon State, who's still playing in the league, actually. I think he was with the Vikings, with the Rams last time I checked, but Sean Mannion's been in the league for forever. It was Andrew Luck at Stanford. It was Matt Barkley at USC. It was Brock Osweiler at ASU. It was Nick Foles at Arizona. Okay? So, and in that time, Nick Saban just got to Alabama. Alabama's playing LSU for the national championship, and you go and look at the national championship game, and it's Courtney Upshaw standing on the stage, and you go, well, shit, yeah, those two teams are better because you don't have those guys. This is pre-transfer portal. This is you recruiting and you're out of your back door. There's just not that caliber of athlete in Southern California. The 6'5", 280 D end that's going to come fuck you up. It just doesn't happen. But then the narrative started that the SEC is better. And you go back and look at those Pac-12 teams. A lot of them were going 9-3, but look at that fucking gauntlet you got to go through. Like, holy shit.
I was going to say,
I mean,
even
10, 11 NFL quarterbacks.
No, yeah, that exactly my point. I was like, even though like I was young and couldn't tell you anything else, I was like, I think I recognize every single one of those quarterbacks' names because of their career after, except for the Oregon one. Didn't know the Oregon guy.
Jeremiah Masoli?
Yeah, didn't know that one.
Oh, you got to go back. And then it was Derek Mason after him, or Derek Thomas. Darren Thomas?
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he was like number 1 or something.
That was the LaMichael James and the freaking, gosh dang it, what's his name? Played at Crenshaw, played for the Chiefs for a while.
Oh, Deontay Thomas.
Deontay Thomas.
Yeah, that guy was a baller. That guy was just.
I played Deontay Thomas in passing league once, so it's just 7-on-7. I'm a tight end. We're just working on our shit, so I'm getting flexed out at receiver because we're just running the one personnel grouping. But I just get the straight man. I'm on the backside of a trips, so they just roll the other side, and I just get straight man from D'Anthony, and he walks down to go man on me. It's the most embarrassed I've ever been on an athletic field in my life. He might as well have taken my shirt off. Like, it was the most I've never been rerouted so hard. I've never worked so hard to run 10 yards in my life. And it felt like it took an hour. Like, it's the passing league bullshit. Like, the whistles are coming from some fucking volunteer kid somewhere. Yeah. Like it was a late whistle, and I felt like I was just in that guy's fucking spin zone for what felt like an eternity. I spent a whole life in there, and I never got right. And it's as embarrassed as I have ever been in any kind of athletic environment. Holy shit.
That's incredible. How big? He wasn't too big, but I guarantee you he was bigger than you thought, because obviously on the screen he looks smaller compared to everyone else on a D1 football field or in the NFL. But I'm like, how big was he actually, like, when you're line up?
My man was wiry. He couldn't have been bigger than 5'11". When I played against him, he couldn't have been bigger than 175 pounds. And it was like I was getting fucking strangled by like a goddamn alligator. It was like the just grip strength on this guy. It was so JV varsity. It was like who's the kid that got ran over by Pat Mahomes, the Wake Forest safety Malik Mustafa or something like that.
Yeah.
49ers.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was that moment for me where it's like, okay, playing Crenshaw, they're fucking you up. All right.
That's awesome. What a great story to have. Up. Just D'Anthony Thomas just jamming your shit all the way to the 10-yard line.
So moving off that, because remember, I just went fucking 4-1. Okay, this isn't make fun of Jack hour. This is Jack's doing really well. Do you have any Friday picks tonight you're pumped about?
Jack, I got Friday picks, and they're a little confusing for me because this Nuggets game. This is the first one I'm on. I'm only on two basketball games and a hockey game tonight. I don't really like much because this NBA Cup is really pissing me off. It's really throwing everything off because teams are playing like it's college basketball. Like they actually give a shit when there's 5 minutes left and they're down 20. Like they still fight for those points. So it's like everything's just thrown off. So Nuggets.
Lance, really quick.
Yeah.
Is point differential a part of the equation?
Yes.
When those teams to advance or not? Okay, yeah, that fucks up all these spreads.
It's part of the group play. That's why I saw a game like Celtics minus 16.5 against the Wizards, and I'm like, is it stupid to not take the Wizards?
Like right? So bad. Anyway.
Well, but it's like, but they're just gonna be start. Yeah. Dude, I've seen games where it's like it's a 12-point game and the starters played all the way through. Like it wasn't even close or anything.
Yeah. I apologize. I'm not laughing at the logic or the pick at all.
No, you're good.
I got a lot of Washington D.C. buddies, and I'm just like, God, between the Wizards, the Nationals, it's tough sledding over there for my boys.
Hey, they got the Commanders. Come on.
They got the Commanders, which is fun. But my Commanders guy or my Washington guy is also a Giants fan, so it's it's not a fun.
Fuck spot. Yeah, that's just a fucking. That's just a bad life. I don't know what else to call it. That's just tough. That's just a tough. Giants fans, man. Yeah. Giants fans are the funniest people.
Nationals and Giants have won championships in its lifetime, so it's not so bad. It's the Wizards that are really funny for me. One, that their mascot's the Wizards. Hilarious. Two, just the mediocrity, how bad that team is. Since the John Wall era, it's been like just every shit. Like it was Paul Pierce way after anyone wanted Paul Pierce. It was Russell Westbrook when it was like decided Russell Westbrook was done. And now it's Jordan Poole when it was like nobody wants Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole's like a walking locker room cancer. It's
well, how about they give Bradley Beal not only the max like $250 million or whatever, but they give him like a no trade clause. Like he should have that power anywhere.
It's a poorly run franchise.
Yeah.
Shit, let's bet on the Wizards tonight.
But hey, wait, hold on. KG Lil Joe's real quick. Wizards are so bad that Bronny James could get a few minutes a game playing on that team. That's right, KG. True. He's an NBA player. So that's very true. Thank you for confirming that you also believe Bronny's an NBA player. But yeah, so Nuggets minus 3.5 versus Mavericks. I know Luka's out. So Luka's out. But Jokic has been out recently with this. It's only listed as personal. And last game, he was game time decision. And he went out. But this game, he's game time decision. So I'm like, this one, if he plays, I like Nuggets. But if not, I probably still like Nuggets.
I kind of like a Kyrie prop bet out there. I might go do some research on that.
Yeah, but honestly, actually, that's a great idea. I forgot to even do that. I forgot to even.
He gets to go back on ball. Yeah. He gets to go back on ball is all I'm thinking. But yeah, no, we'll keep eyes on that.
Yeah,
you
and then
Nuggets minus 3.5. Stand by it.
Yeah.
Stand by it.
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. That last game we bet on when I had Jaren Jackson, I had a little parlay. This was after the fact. I realized all my other shit was losing. But I took Nuggets plus 4.5. thinking Jokic was gonna play and no Morant, and I was like, why would they even give me this option? Of course, Jokic doesn't play, and I'm sitting there like, oh god, I have a Jokic-less Nuggets, which just sounds like the worst team in basketball for some reason. And they ended up winning. So you know what? I'm gonna ride the Nugget train. Give me Nuggets -3.5. And the other NBA game I'm betting on, Kings -3.5 at Clippers. Norman Powell out, and he's just an absolute bucket getter for some reason on that team. I don't want to say for some reason, but that guy has been hooping out of his mind. So but he's out, so I like Kings -3.5. And for hockey, Winnipeg Jets -1.5 at Penguins. Yeah, that one I can like hear him in the back of my head, just random, like a little soft voice of sport being like, Winnipeg, because I just know how he thinks. So I got that locked. So those are my 3 picks for the night. Jack, what are you thinking tonight?
Well, forgive me for not being all in on your Nuggets bet. You sold it so much. There's zero confidence in your Nuggets bet.
Because you don't know about Jokic.
Yeah, I struggle to be inspired by it. And then Jets, I'm with you. I'll listen. I hear sport as well often and at weird times. And Kings -3.5 at Clips. Friday night basketball, especially Clippers basketball in LA, is not a very hot ticket. I do not think this is the Clippers, college basketball arena tonight. And the Kings feel like they just got right. They feel like they just kind of figured out their rotations and the new DeMar DeRozan thing and how everyone settles into this new deal. So I like it. I like Kings -3.5. I like the Jets. Nuggets will sit. We'll keep eyes on Jokic. I think I like the Kyrie prop bet more than anything over there. And then I've learned my lessons. I'm sticking to what I know. Coming, bullshit football at you right here. Giving you a little American Conference and a little Mountain West Conference coming at you right here. UTSA -16.5 versus Temple. We're trusting Vegas and the odds makers that want to parlay on this one on the massive number. We talked about it a little bit earlier this week. Temple is coming off an overtime win, but they've been just terrible all year. They're currently winless on the road and have failed to cover this number and all but I think one of those losses on the road. So it's the Roadrunners to run in this one. I feel good about it. It's also their last home game. Team in San Antonio that takes their football fairly seriously. I expect the fans to be up at the what is it over there, the Alamo Dome or something? I forget, but whatever their stadium's called, it's indoors. It's cool. It's where they did the Army All-American game, and UTSA will be up and rocking tonight. Don't be spooked by the big number. They're going to go after it. And then the other one, UNLV -7.5 at San Jose State. I've slightly talked myself into this one, but because I'm just kind of seeing the angles here and thinking about motivations and conversations and what people are thinking going into these games. UNLV, to me, still sees a path for themselves to backdoor the playoff. They would have to win out, which would include beating Boise State in the conference championship game. But in the meantime, what they need to do is have some statement wins because the team they're going to be up against, even if they do win the Mountain West, is going to be Tulane. We expect Army to fall out of this race this weekend. They're 14-point dogs to Notre Dame. Army will probably play Tulane in the conference championship and get beat again. UNLV needs some statement wins here. San Jose State, perfectly respectable team. You got to go beat the brakes off them tonight and get yourself noticed and involved here, so that if you do go on and surprise everybody, beat Boise State, there's a spot for you to claim that 12 seed in the college football playoff. So those are my takes tonight, Lance. That's how I'm feeling.
All right, only 2 games, just little trusted action from little shitty football that you know best. I like it.
That's right.
All right.
Former coach of Montana, SMU, Charlotte, and University of Mary. Go Marauders. I know shitty football, people. Also put the hot shots on that list.
Yeah.
Go Shots.
Go Shots. Wow. What a great and just sadly short era.
It was beautiful. Everybody in the locker room, everybody, shots. It was beautiful.
That's so
it's ridiculous.
Funny.
There's some great stories. That might be when we're lacking for topics, that might be a good podcast segment down the road. It's just to peel back some of the behind the curtain stories of the AAF because it's crazy. Yeah, people hotboxing bathrooms on planes. You got people getting kicked out of hotels. You got lightning striking planes and grounding planes. You got people having to practice in different states than they actually play in, having to do 45-minute drives across state lines. It's a freak show. It's hilarious.
That's so awesome. We definitely, yeah, down the road, we'll definitely have to spend a good amount of time actually rehashing that. That's awesome. All right. So that knocks out Friday night's picks, Jack. So I think the people want the weekend locks. What do you think?
I'm stoked. I like my weekend locks. I feel good about them. I'm taking some swings, but this is look yourself in the mirror time. Be confident. Have some balls. The theme of last week was no balls. Didn't trust myself. I tried to play ball with Vegas. I tried to balance it up. Have some dogs. Have some favorites. Have some road. Have some home. Not this week. Trust the line. Picked my 5 favorites. Here are the Saturday locks, Lance. Please put me on the clock, good sir. Here we go. First game of the day, 9 a.m. For us West Coasters. SMU -10 at Virginia. The Ponies have the opportunity to clinch an appearance in the ACC championship game with a win. SMU has played their best games in the highest leverage spots all year, and they've also, Lance, looked their best after some of their more lukewarm performances. I give you them dominating Pitt after escaping Duke, for instance. So coming off a sleepy win versus BC, we get a motivated, focused SMU team. They get up big early and they cruise. SMU -10. Next one, under 52.5, Ohio State versus Indiana. Early morning Big Ten game in November just screams underball, Lance. Both defenses will be better than the quarterbacks they'll be playing against. 2 games to remember when thinking about this game: Ohio State versus Penn State and Indiana versus Michigan. That's both each other's respective biggest game in the Big Ten this year. The winning team in both those games scored 20. Underball all day Saturday in Columbus. We get 52.5. That's way too many. Next one, stay in Big Ten. Rutgers -1 versus Illinois. Rutgers got real sloppy in the middle of the season. People kind of forgot about them, but since have won their last 2, including a big win over Minnesota. I think the middle of the Big Ten, we talked about earlier in the show, has been wildly misunderstood. All those teams are a lot closer than I think people realize. Vegas agrees with me, which is the reason for kind of the funny line here. The public is all over Illinois. Lance, we're going the other way. Scarlet Knights to win and cover. Boston College +2.5 versus North Carolina. This is a bad matchup for North Carolina. We just saw their matchup with SMU, Boston College, that is, where they had the ball late and a chance to win. Boston College is going to slow this Tar Heel team down, make them play at their speed. They also, Lance, refuse to kick or punt or take field goals as often as they can. So they're going to be sustaining drives and keeping their offense on the field. It's going to be the second start for their new starter, Grayson James, who in the second half against SMU started to gain some confidence and start to look like a guy. Boston College also needs a win to get to bowl eligibility. I expect BC to not only cover but win this game outright. But go ahead and take the points because they do have kicking issues. And then last one here, Notre Dame -14 versus Army at Yankee Stadium. It pains me to do it, but this Army team is better than Navy, but it's just too much for the Black Knights. The Irish have been amongst the best defenses all year, especially, Lance, on 4th down, which is going to be the story on Saturday. The entire thing of Army is going for it and picking it up on these 4th and 2s. Army defense has also been outstanding for most of the year. They'll try to keep them in it, but it's also an Army defense that gave up 28 to ECU. So I'd love to be wrong on this. I'd love some chaos in college football. But folks, this one's really easy. It's Notre Dame -14 all day. And those people are your Saturday locks. Take all 5. Let's go 5 for 5 this week.
Wow. I do like what I was hearing. I like SMU because honestly, I'm just piggybacking off you. You're an SMU guy, so that makes me slightly an SMU guy.
And I've been nervous to bet on them all year, Lance. I really have. I feel like I finally got them figured out, and I think I can go back to the game they got beat by BYU too. Came back next week, looked the best we had all year against TCU. The following week, beat the shit out of TCU. Scored 67 in that game. We come off a game we should have lost against Duke. And the next week beat the shit out of Pitt in a game that, I think we're only -7 in that game, ended up winning by like 28 or something like that. And then this last week, BC had the chance to win it late, kind of a sleepy, happy to escape with the win type game there for SMU. And now what should have been a trap game becomes the game that will clinch the ACC championship berth for the Ponies in their first year in the conference. to me, you get a motivated SMU group. I think they're going to be up big in the first quarter and just run away with this thing.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Hey, you've convinced me. I'm riding. The under 52.5 Ohio State versus Indiana. I also love that one. You're 100% right about the defenses being better than the quarterbacks. The Rutgers.
Dude, I hate unders. I hate unders. That's just a smart bet, though. I hate them. I fucking hate them. But that's a smart bet.
Yeah. No, you're spot on. Rutgers -1 versus Illinois. I honestly love this one, especially because when you were talking about it, I almost asked, but I didn't want to interrupt. I was like, is the public all over Illinois? And then you went on and said it. Public, of course, is all over Illinois. So I do like Rutgers here.
Funny line. Probably should have been something more like 4.5, 5.5 if you were paying attention all season. But this Rutgers team is kind of getting hot, and this Illinois team, I think Altmaier's good. I think Bielema's good. I've in spots gotten really high in Illinois this year, but I do think that middle of the Big Ten is seriously misunderstood. And from Iowa, UCLA to USC to Rutgers to fucking this Illinois team, I think, on any given day, anybody can beat anybody. And Vegas is telling us something here with this line and where the public sits. I think we just trust it.
Trust it. No, 100%. I love it. All right. Bada bing, bada boom. Saturday 5-0. That's what we're looking for. That's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, and then take that house money and tell me what we're going to spend it on Sunday.
I sure will. I have a couple questions. So before I get through them, because there's two games I'm thinking about. So the Commanders are -10.5 against the Cowboys.
Sure.
That's a lot of points, Jack, but we talked about the double-digit spreads in the NFL and what that means and what the clips that they hit. So
we also publicly acknowledged to ourselves last week that sometimes the Cowboys, because everyone was betting against the Cowboys last week, and that turned to be right with the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys are just that bad right now. They're that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And there's even more internal talks of, are they even intentionally tanking right now? They're that bad.
So there's no reason I should keep the Commanders off this list.
No, I would not be afraid of that at all.
So, okay. That helps me with one pick. Because I'm torn between either Lions -7 at Colts or Commanders -10 against Cowboys.
What's Sam Laporta's deal? Is Sam Laporta back and healthy for the Lions?
That's honestly a great question. I believe.
And then the other injury question I would have for the Lions is as the Darius Smith, the guy they signed recently, that was supposed to be the kind of to get him through the Aiden Hutchinson injury.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden Anthony Richardson looked pretty decent.
They're both
week.
active.
And the Colts, to me, scream like a team that are going to be playing for a wild card spot in the last week of the NFL season.
Same. That's why I was a little weary, and I was stuck between either Lions at the Lions -7 or just hammer the points. Take both the big points games on Sunday because
you're the Sunday guy. I trust your instincts, but I like the Commanders bet. I've got reasons to feel like I like the Colts a little bit there.
Yeah.
Home team getting 7 points, and they need to start winning,
Yeah, exactly. That's where I was torn up. I was like, what do we do here? So, hey, why not use your other co-host for a little help?
I like that. I like that we did that on air.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of a therapy session there.
Yeah.
It was nice.
A little therapy session. A little get right session. All right, I'm going to do Sundays. Here we go. Chiefs -10.5 at Panthers. A lot of points, I know, but Panthers are bad, and Chiefs just lost to the Bills, so I think they bounce back and beat the brakes off them. Next, 49ers +3 at Packers. They also just lost in kind of a devastating way from Geno Smith tiptoeing his way into the end zone. So I believe they go to Lambeau and beat the Packers in a bounce back game as well. Commanders versus Cowboys. I have Commanders -10.5. -10.5. My bad there. But obviously we just talked about this, so we know why I'm laying the points. Broncos -6 at Raiders. It is a divisional matchup, and I know usually I'd go Raiders here, but I feel like the Broncos have got something rolling, and they're just going to steamroll the Raiders in this game. And last but not least, Seahawks -1 versus Cardinals. Seahawks coming off the big win. I was skeptical of which side I wanted to take, but I'm taking the home team in this divisional matchup. Give me Seahawks -1. Jack, what do you think?
Lance, I think you did it. I think you've done it. You've got two double-digit spreads on here, which we talked about at the top of the week. Didn't even plan that those cover at an insanely high rate, something like over 75%. And I like both sides that were on there. 49ers +3 at Packers, yeah. And I would bet the public's going to be all over the Packers on that thing. 49ers and Christian McCaffrey playing, hopefully. Just need to fucking get right. I just refuse to believe that team is not going to be in the playoffs this year. And then Broncos -6 at Raiders. All of a sudden, the Broncos are rolling, and the Raiders, much like the Cowboys, look like a team hell-bent for the top 3 of the draft next year. And the Seahawks -1 versus Cardinals. Hell yeah. I love that pick. They're a game back in the division. The 12th man plays a factor there. A little later in the year, we get some weather happening up in the outdoor Seattle game, formerly Quest Field, whatever it is now, Lincoln, something. Dude, you did it. Way to go. Did we just go 10-0? Is that what just happened there?
Dude, I think so, but all I know is
that the future?
Right now, James Morris in the chat. Let's talk about Green Bay versus San Francisco. So I know he's not happy with my take there that I think 49ers +3. James, talk to us, baby. What do we like? What do you like about your Packers? What do you think? How can you convince me that the Packers are going to cover that game? Or maybe you don't even care about the... He says Green Bay against the spread, Jack, right away. Right away, his finger, he went right away.
Yeah, he's a Packer homer, and while he's crafting his next response,
San Francisco too banged up. That's his quick.
Yeah, that's fair. But I see Jordan Love versus this defense, and I see problems. It's a defense that's turned the ball over a ton, particularly across the middle of the field, where Jordan Love's been guilty of getting a little bit greedy this year with the Fred Warners and the everything they do inside the Hufunga and all those dudes. I think bad matchup for the Packers offense. 49ers really have owned this matchup if I'm in the last few years, if I'm thinking back correctly.
Yeah, I mean, if you think,
got beaten by the 49ers in his last year in Green Bay. Packers got beat last year by the 49ers in the playoffs. The 49ers have owned this matchup, and they're getting 3 points. I know it's at Lambeau. But yeah, give me Brock Purdy and the 49ers this week. I stand by it. James, fair critique, but the more I think about it, the more I talk myself into the 49ers.
Exactly. And KG Little Joe's is in here. Green Bay is getting blown out this week. Jordan Love is tearing his ACL. KG! KG! You're a menace! You're a menace!
Man is ruthless.
Ruthless. I love it. James Morris is going in. Our boy's telling us favorites have been winners this year. Nick Bosa isn't healthy. Without Bosa, that defense got carved by Geno. The dominance of the 49ers over the Packers is not in the regular season. Postseason, yes, is a different story. And then James Morris goes, I love that you said that because both of you are on SF, which means Green Bay is a lock. Damn, James. Well, damn.
James, we'll see on the Warner leaderboard, friend. We'll see who's looking down at hill.
Yeah, we'll see.
I got a funny feeling about it this weekend.
We might have to make a side wager, James. We might have to, because my pride is that important to me. We might have to make a side wager, but we'll talk. We'll see. But yeah, so Jack, I think this might be, he says, let's do it. He's fired up. He's ready to go.
Yeah. Let's do it.
I love it. But yeah, this might be, well, I guess according to James, it's going to be 9-1, but I think 10-0 here, Jack. I'm pretty confident. I like what we're dealing here.
If we go 5-0, we may have to go emergency podcast, just throw it Sunday morning and just be like, it's happening. 10-0. Bet the mortgage.
Yeah.
Bet the parlay 5-0 game. Yeah. But that brings us about to the end of the show, I'd say, Lance.
Yeah.
Of today. We got the locks out there. I feel good. I'm gonna go place all these. I'm gonna try to track down some more NBA, possibly NHL action. We'll keep the Discord channel apprised of all movements out there. But that was the show. That's the Wanna Parlay podcast. It is brought to you, of course, by the good folks of Wanna Parlay, home of the $2 parlay and the world's richest parlay. Quite frankly, if you've listened to the show and you haven't joined Wanna Parlay yet, I want to punch you in your dumb fucking face. That's how I feel right now. Sorry. I don't want the outro to start to feel repetitive. I tried something there. I'm not going to hit anybody. Maybe Steel Curtain. Maybe Steel Curtain if he tries me. Dialed picks. We think too highly of you around here. The shrine is just getting bigger and frankly more inappropriate. But congratulations to you and all your success and the $8,000 that you have. And everybody, go check out the main event right now. I promise you the current number will not be the winning number. Sorry to dog you up top there, but that's just the fact. You're going to make money with where we're currently slotted in there. And then, as always, the VIP contest up and running and feeling good. That number, by the way, still wide open. Dial picks currently leading the charge here. Wouldn't be shocked if he even got another higher number out on top of what he's currently existing. But that 49.57, folks, will not be the winning score going. So it is anyone's ball game. Why shouldn't it be you? That competition closes on December 1st, and the game is December 8th, where the Chargers are going to Kansas City, as should you, to watch that game take on Kansas City. Yeah. And then, as always, our boy Kev in the chat, important reminder, if you are in the Chicago area, Illinois area, just in the Midwest in general, make a point to get down to Little Joe's there in Chicago and participate in the toy drive our boy Kevin Glywa, KG's got going there at Little Joe's. They've got people matching on the toy donations. They've got people donating boxes. They just need more people like us to get the ball rolling and get it started. Let's make sure no one spends Christmas without a gift this winter. And yeah, there's the podcast, Lenny. Way to go. Let's go make some money.
Way to go. Just shout out James, you're a legend. KG, absolute legend. Oh, last little, he tried to slip it in. He's right there. James Morris. Caleb Williams gets eaten alive by the Vikings defense this Sunday. That's another one, James. That's another one. I'll take personal. I'll take Bears 3.5. You get Vikings. We'll have to do it. I'll DM you on Instagram. We'll have to do it.
Yeah. I love it.
All right, folks. Well, that'll be all. I appreciate you all tuning in. And we'll be back Monday. Yeah, Monday. All right, we salute. Adios. Yeah.